Hey there, it's Thin Diesel XL because the regular version was taken. And today I am going to be doing a self-proposed challenge in ESPN NFL 2K5 career mode. The challenge? To win the Super Bowl with only drafted players. The rules start with a very crappy team. I'm going to start with the Browns because they're pretty crappy. And they haven't won anything good since... Exactly. I can only win with current rostered players or people that I have drafted. That means no free agency pickups at all, unless they are undrafted rookies. And what I qualify as undrafted rookies is people who did not make the main roster before kickoff on week 1. Okay, if they play for another team during the preseason, that's okay. But if they don't make the roster on week 1 regular season, then I am okay to sign them as long as they are rookies. Okay, that's the only exception. Also, another rule is players can only be traded for draft picks. So I can't do a player for player swap. But there is a caveat because if you know the glitch in this game, the rosters are always full during the season for the computer. So I'll allow myself to trade for another player as long as I immediately release the player I traded for. Fair enough. That's fair. Another rule. I'm only allowed to sim games. The final rule is no reloading. I am an avid supporter of no save scumming. If you don't get the result you want, that's too bad, because there would be no reloading on this day. So let's get right into it. We're going to simulate the preseason and regular season and get right to our first offseason because that's where the real work begins. Also, we're trying to tank the first season so we can get a really, really good draft pick going into the next season. So, popping into the old expiration, retiring, re-signing section, we made just a few re-signings. Ross Verba, tackle, Kevin Bentley, linebacker, as well as Mark Word, our awesome defensive end. And let's get straight into that draft. So with the draft, I like to operate in best available player, regardless of position, unless my team is just so flush that I can afford to draft a player I wouldn't usually take out of position or out of position in draft. Here I was able to get Walter McCormick overall, the best center in the draft as well as the best player. And then I also went after Matt Dixon, the best defensive tackle and the second overall best player in the draft. And one major coup that we made was in the 4th round, we were able to grab Alejandro Lynch, quarterback out of some podunk place. But who cares? I think he came in at overall 72 to start. And from there, he just kept getting better and better. Just surprisingly got better and better to develop into a mildly okay quarterback. Got him in the 4th round and was very happy about that. But I didn't know it at the time. At the time, I'm just like, yeah, cool, we got a quarterback for the future-ish until we find a real quarterback. That's what my thinking was there. But as you can see, took Walter McCormick, then grabbed Mr. Brown. Going to grab Dana Lawrence here. Outside linebackers are tight, and they grow pretty well, actually. And then here, next one should be the Alejandro Lynch pick. I was just like, oh, sure, there's like 3 quarterbacks, whatever. Might as well just take any of them, right? Plus that one guy looked just like our center, so we're like, hell no, not him. But we over here we got that Alejandro Lynch out of New Mexico. That's what it was. And here we have our signings. For a player like Walter McCormick, I'm signing him to a max contract, max length, max bonus, just to get it, because he's going to be a player of the future, and I want to keep him on board for the entire time. No questions asked. So, boom, max contract in terms of what he's interested in. There. And then same doesn't go for Matt Dixon because he's a defensive tackle. And I have my questions about him, and I think I might trade him later. Dane Lawrence, low, yeah. So usually, actually, let's look at Alejandro Lynch and look at the future real quick. Let's just take gander at a guy who I didn't realize was going to be as good as he turned out to be. For these lower round players, 6th, 7th, 5, 6, 7, I like to give them the length of the contract. I like to give them the max length in terms of years, and I like to give them no bonuses. And I usually make sure I try to draft a low overall player. That way they're filling out the roster, giving our team, our starters some rest. But this just allows me to keep better starters, and if my players stay healthy, then we'll do greater in the long run. It just gives me more flexibility with my cap space and effort to keep more players, or keep better players. Technically, I guess I'm saying that my depth is terrible, and I really rely on my starters. So we just go with that. I like how Justin Fargas looks like Patrick Mahomes. So right now I'm just looking through to see if there are any rookies that just weren't drafted that were pretty high up. I'm looking for somebody in their 70s. He looks okay, but for the most part, I usually look for somebody that's 70 or higher that are rookies that weren't drafted. So jumping into season 2, we actually found a rookie defensive end and quarterback in free agency. We're on a week 1 roster, so we snapped them up. Then we decided to make a couple of I decided to make a couple key trades, including getting rid of Jeff Garcia since his contract won't kill us this year. And I believe I got rid of Steve Hayden. Is it Steve? Bob? I don't care. He's gone too because we need the picks. And Cal Winslow for sure since he's a soldier. And Orpheus Roy because his contract was pretty insane, as well as Robert Griffith. So we got rid of them. Then we released a couple other players. Oh, we also got rid of Courtney Brown. Thank goodness. He's very expensive contract for an okay player. Then we released a couple people just so we'd have some cap space going into this next season. Finishing 3-13. Heck yeah. Because we want that first overall pick. And that's what we're going to do. Get the best pick possible. So, skipping past all the boring stuff, let's just go straight into the draft. So, I was over the moon about the potential draft overall the tight end, Darrell West, but that running back was like, yo, you want to pick me. So I had to pick the running back. Running backs go so quickly. They're not very fast for some reason, usually, but doesn't matter. They're going to be good regardless. So snapped up that halfback, got the tight end later in the round. Then obviously went right back into my go-to is best available player. So best available player is that awesome looking safety. Boom, Renee Simon on the team. And here you have decisions to make, and the only decision is rookie report, best available player, Brandon Pierce. No brainer. And then after we picked him up, we went after a few other awesome athletes to kind of round out our upcoming season. I believe we take that guard, Mr. Bobby Bear. That's right. Always making sure that line is tight. You know it's a good draft when you can draft Jeff Hardy as a kicker. Heck yeah. Don't even know if he's any good, but taking him because his name is Jeff Hardy. Bum, 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 bum. So popping into the draft signings, Darrell West obviously was best overall player, but we got him in the we got him later in the first, so we didn't have to pay him that much. But we're giving him a full contract. Same almost goes for Lucas Arnold. I always like to kind of trade running backs in their final year. I don't know why, but that's just what I do. Bobby Berry's gonna be here for a long time, and as you can see, we just made a couple of keys, we signed our rookies, filled our roster, then we go into the next season. But you can see players like Brandon Pierce, fullback, actually really good for a second round pick. So we start we skipped preseason, we start our season. I decided to make a few trades to get a little more, or to get a couple more picks going into the next season, because this is still another tanking year. It's what we do best. And 3-13, the tanking of tankingness. You can't tank any harder than that. Well, you can, but this is a solid tanking. So we tank the year and go right back into rinse repeat. We're going to retire, sign or retire, or, convince some people not to retire, make some picks, make some re-signings, and we'll just keep going until we get that Super Bowl. But I thought it would be nice here to sign Andre Davis. It's hard to get a good receiver, and it's hard to keep a good receiver, especially when you have to draft them all, because you don't get a lot of good receivers in the draft in NFL 2K5. And I can't get any from free agency because free agency restrictions. What can you do? Those are the parameters I set upon thyself. And I believe this was a really exciting draft. Yeah, here on the rookie report we had George McLaughlin. Like I said, it's rare to see a receiver that high up, so I had to have him. Like, there's no ifs, ands, buts about it. It was also surprising to see Wilbert Robinson available at this at that pick, but we took him because, like I said, I like to have a good line, and I will have a good line. The rest of the draft was mildly uneventful, but I was able to also pick up some good center backs. Some cornerbacks. I was able to get some good cornerbacks in the second round. Now on to the signings. George McLaughlin, if I could sign you to a $50 billion year contract, I would, but that's not allowed. But anyway, max contract, max bonus. My man's going to be on the team forever. Same goes for Wilbur Robinson. Gilbert Morrison was, like I said, I got some really good center backs. I got some really good cornerbacks in the second round. Then I traded a few of some of my older players to get some good draft picks going into the next year. Because again, we are still in rebuilding mode, and I was okay with tanking. I'm still okay with my team tanking this season because I think we're about 2 or 3 more drafts away from actually being able to develop the current players as well as getting newer players that can round our team out. I feel like we're only 2 or 3 years away. But you could see Alejandro Lynch is already 83. And I got some guy named Rhodes that back him up. It was pretty good. But Arnold is already a boss. McLaughlin's our best receiver, and he's just a rookie. West is already a 97. It's insane. I need to tackle so badly. But our guards are great. Our centers are phenomenal. We have one really good defensive end, which is okay. We've got one really good defensive tackle. But you can see some of Dana Lawrence is developing quite well for a second-round pick. I think they're second or third round. Actually, I think he was a third-round pick. And we still have our solid linebackers, core. Our corners need improvement, but they're going to be pretty good in a couple years. You can already tell they're just rookies and sophomores. But the biggest, most surprising thing was our record. Like, 12-2, 12-4. We just freaking crushed it going into this third or is it fourth season. We'll figure it out. So, a surprising 12-4 record. Of course, we lose immediately to San Diego Chargers. But, but, I am okay with us making all that progress. You can't put a price on that. Attendance is going to be up. So let's go into this offseason. We just made some simple signings, but we had a problem of trying to figure out who to draft. We weren't exactly in the market for a guard, and we have 800 center backs. Center backs, oh my god, I did it again. Cornerbacks. So I had to cheat and go to Mel's Takes. We also traded away our backup quarterback since Rhodes is making some inroads. Haha. We got rid of Tucker so we could see if we could maybe get ourselves the best tackle in the draft. Which we did. Leonard Hill was the best tackle in the draft, and immediately after, the rest of the tackles were taken. So we took the best player possible. In my eyes, our team wasn't hurting for a lot of positions, but a tackle would really be nice for our quarterback going into the next season. With a little help from fucking Mel Kiper of all people. But we also got a solid defensive tackle, and we weren't that invested into Leonard Hale, but we did love Julian Valdez, and we had a couple of other signings. They were pretty decent, but they're not going to make. We're not going to worry about them right now. Let's just say that. So entering year 5, we're not expecting a great season. Going into our quarterbacks, we can see Lynch has made some great progress. Arnold is awesome. We have some great fullbacks. Andre Davis is doing pretty well at receiver, and McLaughlin's already 89 overall. Wes is 100, and he's got his backups. Hale is already a decent tackle. Robertson, amazing. Barry hurt. McCormick, gorgeous. Mark Word is still our best defensive end. We got Valdez, and then I think we've resigned Lawrence in the offseason. We have 3 great ILBs. Our corners are finally looking pretty solid. We could definitely use another starter. Morrison's great though. And our safeties are fine. Unfortunately, the season finished at 7-9. So, going into the offseason, we decided to trim the fat. We traded off Mark Word because our plan this season, my plan this season was to sell our defensive end and draft one, since we can't pick one up in free agency, and the defensive ends are extremely hard to develop. So we're going with Troy Jimenez. There you have it, number 1 overall, choice by us. I don't like drafting defensive ends, but in this case, we had to do it, so we did it. But it's all good because we were able to get Leonard Stanley from Bethune-Cookman, a great cornerback in the mold of Rasheed Mathis. Of course, you can see his rating here, 76. Not the greatest. That's why we're not signing him to a bonus contract. Don't tell his agent, but we're not. Leonard Stanley, however, has a real shot at being one of our best players, but also he's a cornerback. And the defensive tackle, Christoph Peterson, which I thought was a pretty good late round steal. I believe I got him in the first late round, and then Cameron Potter I got late in the second round. So we're rounded out pretty well. And then we just made the decision to trade off Rhodes for a first round pick, which was, I think, a great idea since we picked up another quarterback in the draft. And Rhodes won't be starting for us anytime soon, and I don't care who's playing backup. So off Rhodes goes to his new destination. And for us, it's year frickin' 6. Now, year 6, we have high expectations of at least making the playoffs. We have a consistent record of at least 7 wins over the past couple years, but I would like to see us back in the playoffs. So after a few little signings, we go through our quarterbacks. We know Lynch is for the future. We got great running back, got great fullbacks. We got McLaughlin, who just looking great. We don't have any very good receivers outside of him and Davis, but we'll do. We got West. We got Hale improving. We got Weaver improving. Robertson, Barry, McCormick. Our line looks amazing. We got Troy Jimenez, who's an okay defensive end, but our defensive tackles are solid. Our outside inside linebackers are great. It's what we need. And then look at that development, like 283s. And then we have our corners, 285s, and we got Morrison as a 90. So our team looks really poised to make the playoffs this year. My team, not our team. My team looks poised to make the playoffs this year. And had a fucking outstanding year. So we ended up going, I think, 10-6 with a first round bye playing the Dolphins, beat them in the divisional, then faced off against the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. What? Beat them. Now we're off to the freaking Super Bowl, y'all. Scary because I have to sim it, but I can't play it, but I'm excited that we're going to get there. And it looks like we're going to be playing the Commanders in the Super Bowl, so I'm going to shut up now and let the highlights do their thing.
Hey, I'm Chris Berman. Coming up on ESPN, 32 teams kick things off back in September, each having this game as their ultimate goal. Only 2 teams remain. By the end of the evening, one team will stand alone as champions of the National Football League. The hype is over. It's time to play some football. The Super Bowl, just moments away. Redskins, Browns. This ought to be good.
Greetings from Tempe, Arizona, home of Super Bowl 42, here on ESPN. I'm Dan Stevens. As always, I'm with Peter O'Keefe, and Peter, the excitement in the air here is unbelievable.
You got that right. It's what everybody's been waiting for. Coach Gibbs has to be happy with how his team responded to the question he posed at the beginning of the year, can we win it all? Butch Davis is as focused as I've ever seen him. He knows that it all comes down to this one single game, and he has put all of his energies into it. And I tell you what, Dan, let's not shortchange these fans either. They are just as into this as anybody. Wow!
Good to see you too. Nice day for football today. It's a beautiful day for football.
Yeah, so you guys ready for this?
Yeah, we're ready. I think we got a little something up our sleeve for you, Coach.
We're ready for whatever you got.
Yeah, Coach. Well, hey, I can't wait for this team to get started.
So let the best man win.
You got it, Coach.
The U.S. Air Force Precision Flying Team. And the Super Bowl is about to get underway. Let's go to the coin toss.
On one side, 2 helmets, that will be heads. On the other side is the official Super Bowl logo, that will be tails.
Tails.
It's heads.
John Hall kicking off for the Redskins.
The ref gets the signal, and we're set. Lynch throws a bullet here, and the reception's made at the 38. Lynch unloads this to the right sideline, and they get the first. McLaughlin makes a tough catch, and that's a touchdown.
Touchdown, Browns!
Lynch didn't get a lot, but didn't need to. Good job.
Baldwin goes in motion. Collier zings it to the right side, and it's intercepted. Stopped at the 33.
I'm coming out.
Yards they needed.
4th down, and the field goal unit is on the field. Hardy with the 42-yard attempt, and he misses this one to the right. Out in front, 7-0. And now let's send you to Chris Berman in our studios in Bristol for the ESPN. Collier throws a bullet to the flat, and the completion is made. Short of the markers, however. That will bring up 4th down.
Stanley made the save, dropping the ball carrier before he could get to the markers.
The defense's back was against the wall, and they rose to the challenge, Peter.
Yeah, Dan, that's great D. They had to make a stand here, and they stood together.
It will be 4th down. Hall with the 42-yard attempt, and it's no good. It bounced off the upright and then out.
John.
Lynch throws this on a rope, and it's complete at the 42 tackle.
Yeah, it looked like the skate drill in practice. You keep your feet moving, zone in, and make the play. Perfectly done.
Davis reels in the football, and they get the first on 3rd and long. Lynch gets all of his arm into this pass, and the catch is made well past the markers. McLaughlin makes the catch on the right sideline and gets past the markers for a 1st down.
Touchdown, Browns!
A shot at it.
It seemed like the defense read that one from the beginning, and they forced the incompletion with relative ease.
Beautiful call by the D coordinator.
It'll be 4th down. 4th down, and the punting unit is on the field. He's going to throw it. This one falls incomplete, and they will turn the ball over on downs.
Gibbs does a great.
4th down, and the field goal unit is on the field. Hardy kicks from 40 yards out and barely misses this one off to the right.
Hardy misses the field.
This drive at the 31-yard line. Collier fires this one over the middle, and the catch is
with the tackle.
Gardner grabs the rope right side. This one falls incomplete, and they will turn the ball over on down.
I'm turning it on.
Collier just rifles this one, and the catch is made for down. 4th down coming up. Collier fires this one over the middle, and it falls incomplete. They will turn the ball over on down.
Hey, as we line up in the victory formation, I'd like to thank the entire Browns organization for allowing me to build this incredible squad. McLaughlin is probably going to be MVP. Shout out to my boys down in Cincinnati, Ohio. Sorry, it's Cleveland's time.
And this one is in the books.
Looks like there's going to be a celebration in Cleveland this week. So I'm going to let my boys celebrate because this is their time, their hard work, their dedication, getting that Super Bowl win that we always want.
A couple class acts down there. Great coaches.
And there is our Super Bowl MVP.
He deserved it, man. What a performance.
Congratulations.
You know, Dan, that is such a great feeling. Let the party begin, baby.
And there it is. It's official. Well, that wraps it up for this year, Peter O'Keefe, along with me, Dan Stevens. See you all next year. For my partner, Peter O'Keefe, this is Dan Stevens saying goodbye until next time.
Now let's check in with our player of the game, a guy who made one big-time catch after another to help seal the win for his team. McLaughlin is on hand with Susie Colbert. Suze?
Thanks, Chris. You were fantastic, and you helped carry your team to a nice win. What do you think was the critical factor in getting the W?
Both teams came out ready to play today. Luckily, we were able to come up with some, big key plays down the field, and luckily we came out on top.
Chris, back to you.
I'm Chris Berman, and that concludes our broadcast.
Hey, so first things first, we are cutting Jeff frickin' Hardy. You don't miss 2 field goals in the most important game of the year. Okay, bye. Goodbye, Jeff Hardy. It's like TNA Jeff Hardy as opposed to WWE Jeff Hardy. And that does not sit well with me. Here we're just looking at some of the Pro Bowl players. We got Lucas Arnold, our starting running back. I believe Walter McCormick, our great #1 pick. And Gilbert Morrison, our shutdown corner in his 3rd year. Very proud of our boys. We did it. Took 6 seasons and a movie. And that is the challenge complete. If you got this far, thanks for watching. And that's it. Video is over.